It was a beautiful Sunday morning. The air was light, the weather perfect. Widen, dressed in a breezy pastel dress, twirled around the living room with excitement, Widen grinning. Tae. Yunha, let's go, family day, remember. Taehyung, already in a crisp beige shirt with sleeves rolled up and his watch in place, looked up from his phone and smiled at his glowing wife. Taehyung, coming. Mrs. Kim, you planned it. I'm just obeying orders. Yunha, sitting on the couch with her arms crossed and expression bitter, mumbled under her breath. Yunha gritting. Why do we have to go out with her? But Wyan, keeping it classy and cool, simply turned to Yunha and extended her hand. Why then, come on, princess. There's a new pancake place you'll love. The three of them settled into a cozy corner booth. Wyan sat beside Taehyung, who, like the whipped husband he was, held her hand under the table and rubbed his thumb softly over her knuckles. Wyan smiled shyly, cheeks flushing pink. Just when the moment felt perfect, Taehyung, the voice, that voice. Kang Minha, dressed in sleek black like she was ready for a villain monologue. Taehyung's smile dropped. Yuna's eyes lit up. Yunha, Mom, sit with us, please. Widen blinked, lips tightening just slightly before fixing a polite smile. Taehyung hesitated, but one glance at his daughter's expectant face and he sighed. Taehyung coldly, fine, only for a short while. Minha took the seat directly across from Wyan, eyes scanning her with judgmental precision. The atmosphere turned colder than the iced lemonade on the table. Minha fake smile. So? Wyan, I heard you were married before. Wyan nodded slowly, not flinching. Taehyung low warning, Minha, watch it. Minha smiling innocently. What? I was just guessing. Maybe she wasn't. Good enough. Wyan leaned forward, unfazed, her voice laced with soft venom. Wyan smirking. No, darling. He just turned out to be a gold digger with a wandering appetite. Guess some women attract men like that. The table fell silent. Minha's expression froze. She knew exactly what Wyan was implying. Minha teeth clenched. Excuse me, Taehyung standing abruptly. I think we've had enough. He reached out and took Wyan's hand, lifting her from the seat like a true gentleman. Minha in a low, bitter voice. You'll regret this. Wyan glancing back with a soft smile. No, you will, for not realizing what you lost. Car scene, the power couple moment post-restaurant drama. Wyan proving she's uncheckable. Taehyung, completely obsessed. The sleek black Mercedes glided smoothly through the streets of Seoul, the atmosphere inside simmering with unspoken tension. Yunha sat in the back, unusually quiet, hugging her plush toy, watching her father and his wife up front. Taehyung, one hand on the wheel, the other firmly intertwined with Wyan's, hadn't said much since they walked out of the restaurant, but he hadn't let go of her hand either. Wyan, calm but sharp-eyed, looked out the window, lips pursed. Suddenly, the car slowed. Taehyung quietly to the driver, pull over for 10 minutes, privacy mode. The driver nodded and parked near a quiet riverside lane, then stepped out, shutting the partition. Wyan turned to him, raising an eyebrow. Wyan, what are you doing? Taehyung turning to face her. You handled that like a queen. She blinked. Wyan, well, someone had to remind your ex-wife who the real Mrs. Kim is. Taehyung grinning. I was this close to throwing a glass at her face. But then you started throwing knives with your words. He leaned in, brushing her hair away from her face. Taehyung softly, you didn't just defend yourself, you defended us. Wyan whispering, teasing. You're lucky to have me. Taehyung voice low, eyes darkening. You have no idea. He didn't wait for another word. His hand slipped behind her neck, and his lips crashed into hers with heat that made her heart stutter. The kiss was hungry weeks of emotions, tension, and want bundled into one moment. Whyhin gasped against his lips as he pulled her closer, her hands gripping his shirt collar. Behind them, Yunha silently watched, brows furrowed. After a moment, they parted, breathing heavy. Taehyung pressing his forehead to hers. I love you. No one touches you. No one speaks to you like that again. Got it? Whyhin smirking. You planning to kiss me breathless every time someone tries? Taehyung, absolutely. Yunha huffed dramatically in the back seat, crossing her arms. Yunha, are you guys done with your adult drama? I want to go home. Yunha's mask slips. Taehyung watches. Whyhin acts. They had barely stepped inside when Yunha tossed her bag on the floor, stomped upstairs, and slammed her bedroom door. Whyhin and Taehyung exchanged a knowing glance. Taehyung sighing, here we go again. Whyhin calmly let her sulk. She needs to realize she's not running this house. Taehyung wrapped his arms around Whyhin from behind, kissing her temple. Taehyung, I trust you with her. I trust you with everything. Whyhin smiled but didn't reply. Her mind was already forming her next move. A high-pitched shriek echoed through the hallway. Yunha yelling from her room, I hate her. I wish mommy was here. She's stealing you from me. Whyhin stood outside the door for a moment, then calmly knocked. Why in neutral tone? Can I come in, Yunha? No. Whyhin walked in anyway. The 8-year-old sat on her bed, cheeks wet with tears, hair disheveled. Her plushie clutched like a shield. Yunha venomous. You're a witch. You tricked daddy. You want to erase mommy. I hate you. Whyhin walked closer, calm, controlled, radiating authority. She knelt down to meet her eye level. Wide and cold smile. You think crying louder makes you right. It doesn't. Yunha snapping. I'll tell daddy everything. You pushed me, you lied. Whyhin leaned in, her voice dropping like ice. Whyhin, do it. Go tell him. Let's see who he believes, his wife, or a little girl who pretends to cry on cue. He had heard everything, his jaw clenched, not in anger at Whyhin, but at how blind he had been. At how much his wife had endured quietly. Taehyung to himself, enough. He walked toward their bedroom, eyes dark. Yunha walks into the living room, only to find the entire Kim family seated, waiting. Whyhin sat calmly next to Taehyung on the sofa, her hand resting lightly on his knee. Mrs. Kim stood near the window. Arms folded, eyes sharp, Mrs. Kim coldly. Sit down, Yunha. Yunha blinked in confusion but obeyed. The air was thick with tension. Taehyung firmly, you lied, Yunha, about the stairs. About why then? Yunha quietly. No, I. Mrs. Kim snapping. Stop it. I raised you better. I taught you better. Yunha looked at her grandmother, lips trembling. Yunha. But daddy always said mommy was his first love, so why did he marry her? Silence. Even the maid standing at the back stiffened. Why and before Taehyung could speak? Because sometimes love isn't enough. She turned to Yunha, voice soft but piercing. Why in? Your mother left your father when he was broken. I found him and stayed. That's the difference. Yunha looked down, confused. Mrs. Kim voice like thunder. Don't you ever speak to your stepmother like that again. This woman kept our family together while you were learning to lie like your mother. Mrs. Kim furious now. Why and could have left after everything, but she stayed. She loved you even when you didn't deserve it. Yuna's eyes welled up. Taehyung gently pulled her close, but there was no softness in his voice now. Taehyung, you wanted to be the reason this family broke again. You're 8, not 4. Start understanding what your actions do. Yunha sniffled, guilt sinking in. Whyhin calmly, I won't beg to be loved by you, Yunha, but I will protect this family, including you. Whether you like me or not, the room went quiet. Mrs. Kim stepped forward, wrapping an arm around Y and protectively. Mrs. Kim softly, "This one is my daughter now. You can either learn to live with that or keep watching her become everything your mother never was." Wyan walks out of the room gracefully. Taehyung stares after her, his heart full of respect and love. He turns to Yunha. "Taehyung, apologize when you're ready and mean it." Wyan stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her maternity dress. A soft, pale pink one that hugged her growing bump just enough. She placed her hand over her belly, smiling. Taehyung leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, eyes full of adoration. Taehyung low and teasing, "I like the last one better." Wide and rolling her eyes, "You said that about every dress I tried." Taehyung walking closer, hands on her waist, "Because no fabric can compete with this glow." He kissed her cheek, then knelt and placed a kiss on her bump. Taehyung to the baby, "You growing well in there, little star?" App is watching. Wyan, "You're worse than a clingy puppy." Taehyung smirking, "And you're stuck with me, Mrs. Kim." Mrs. Kim loaded Y's plate while Taehyung reminded her to chew slowly like he was her nutritionist / bodyguard / personal fanboy. Yunha sat at the table silently, stealing glances at Y, and every now and then. Wyan noticed she didn't speak, but she smiled at Yunha once or twice. No pressure, no forcing love, just warmth. Yunha didn't smile back, but she didn't look away either. Wyan sat on the couch, flipping through a baby book. Her hand instinctively rested on her belly every few seconds. Yunha walked in, dragging her bag and her sketchbook. Wyan gently, "Long day at school, Yunha. ... We drew families." In Yunha's shaky crayon lines, a picture of 4 stick figures. One tall Taehyung, one with long hair Wyan, one small with ponytails Yunha, and a tiny dot between Y's arms, the baby. Y's eyes welled up. Yunha murmuring, "Does it hurt when babies grow inside you?" Wyan shook her head, voice trembling. Wyan smiling, "No, it tickles more than it hurts." Taehyung wrapping arms around her waist from behind. "You're magic, you know?" Wyan smiling into his chest. Taehyung, "She never drew her mother in her family sketches." "But she drew you." Wyan's eyes softened. "Wyan, do you think she's warming up to me?" Taehyung kissing her temple. "She's already halfway in love with you." The news broke like wildfire. First Lady Kim Y's past marriage resurfaces. Ex-husband claims emotional instability and unfit for motherhood. Wyan, sipping her morning tea, nearly dropped the cup. Mrs. Kim barged into the room in panic. Mrs. Kim furious. "What kind of filth is this? Who would even?" Taehyung walked in, phone in hand, jaw clenched. Taehyung ice cold voice, "Minha." Silence. Mrs. Kim, "That woman again. She's gone too far." Taehyung, "She crossed the line dragging Wyan into this. She wants a media war. Let's give her a lesson in destruction." Taehyung to press secretary, "Release a statement publicly. No vague words say she is my wife, the first lady, and no amount of dirt from her past can dim her worth in my eyes." Secretary, "Sir, should we also?" Taehyung cutting in, "Blacklist anyone who spreads it further. If it was Minha, I want her handled legally." This ends today. Wyan sat in the nursery sorting baby clothes, looking a little shaken but quiet. Yunha peeked in, holding a wrinkled piece of paper. Yunha quiet, I made this for the baby." She held out a messy crayon drawing, a tiny onesie design with stars and a clumsy stitched heart. Wyan blinked, touched. Wyan softly, "Did you design this yourself?" Yunha nodding, nervous. "Mama always says my drawings look weird. She told me to stop wasting time." Wyan's heart shattered. She looked at the drawing. then at the little girl's eyes full of hope and fear. Wide and warmly, Yunha, this is beautiful. Do you know what designers like me call this? Yunha hopeful, what, wide and smiling, a concept sketch. And I think our baby would look adorable in this. A custom baby onesie, Yunha's design brought to life, arrived from Y An's boutique team. Widen handed it to her sketch reel, stitched with the same stars. The clumsy heart embroidered like a treasure. Yunha tears spilling. You made it, real, you didn't laugh like mama. Widen hugging her gently. I'd never laugh at your dream, baby. If you love designing, then I'll teach you everything I know. Yunha sobbed into her chest. Yunha muffled. Thank you, Widen. I love you. Widen blinked. Her arms tightened. Widen softly. I love you too, sweet girl. Widen was folding tiny baby blankets while humming softly. Yunha was sitting on the rug, coloring. Taehyung passed by the door and paused. The sight warmed him, his wife, his daughter, their peace. But what happened next made his heart stop. Yunha looking up, softly, Mom. Can I use glitter on the stars? The world stopped spinning. Widen froze mid-fold. Taehyung nearly dropped the glass in his hand outside the door. Widen turning slowly, what did you say? Yunha blinking. I mean, if it's okay, Mom. Widen's eyes welled up instantly. Widen whispering, you called me Mom. Yunha nodded shyly and got up to walk toward her. Yunha nervous, because you make me lunch, braid my hair, help with my dreams. And love me even when I'm rude. That's what a mom does, right? Widen bent down and pulled her in a hug, crying silently. Widen, that's exactly what a mom does. From behind the door, Taehyung leaned his head back, eyes teary, a hand over his heart. Taehyung to himself, she's not just my wife. She's the mother my daughter always needed. The newest upload went viral, designed by Kim Yunha, age 8, for her unborn sibling. Created with love and imagination by CEO and designer Y in Kim. The internet exploded with love. Hashtags like #PowerFamily, #FirstLady with heart, #Yunha designer started trending. But someone else was boiling. Minna screaming at her lawyer. She used my daughter. She's exploiting her. Lawyer, ma'am. The public is loving it if we attack. If backfire, Minha gritting teeth. Then leak something else. Her divorce, stir up hate again, but this time, President Kim was ready. Taehyung standing tall with Y, N's hand in his. This is my wife. My daughter, my family. Any attack on them is an attack on me. And if you think you can break us, try harder. His voice was calm, deadly calm. The media went silent. Peace had finally wrapped itself around the Kim household. YN's baby bump had grown beautifully, glowing in soft pastels as she worked on a new fashion line with Yunha, their little design team duo. Taehyung came home early every evening now, leaving the chaos of politics behind at the gate to enjoy dinner with his 2 girls and soon-to-arrive baby. Taehyung massaged Y and swollen feet while Yunha lay between them, sketching baby onesies. Yunha, do you think the baby will like dinosaurs or stars? Widen laughing softly, both, because you'll teach them how to love both. Taehyung looked between them, eyes glassy, heart full. Taehyung softly, I was already blessed with one miracle. And now another. I don't know what I did to deserve this. Widen cupping his cheek, you chose to be a father, a husband, a man who fought for his family. That's why they kissed and Yunha fake gagged. Yunha, you, get a room, Taehyung grinning. This is our room. The house was silent, until it wasn't. Yun's painful cry broke through the calm as her water broke unexpectedly. Yunha ran to get help while Taehyung jumped out of bed, his hands shaking, but his voice calm. Taehyung, it's okay, baby, breathe. I've got you, I'm here. After hours of labor, tears, screaming, and Taehyung nearly fainting twice, the doctor finally smiled. Doctor, congratulations, it's a boy. Taehyung looked at the tiny bundle, red and wrinkly, placed in Anne's arms. Taehyung barely whispering, he's perfect, whining tearfully. Hi, my little lion. Taehyung leaned down, pressing his forehead to hers, his lips shaking. Taehyung, thank you. For this life, for this love, for our baby boy. The house buzzed with joy. Yunha sat with her new baby brother, holding his tiny hand while and rested beside them. Yunha softly, you know, I think I like being a big sister, even smiling. You're already amazing at it. Taehyung walked in, holding a tiny onesie with President's air written on it, and grinned. Taehyung, ready for your first family photo, Team Kim. Click, the photo would go viral in 10 minutes. The nation adored them. Taehyung's Instagram post, caption, my girls. My boy, my life, hashtag Kim family, hashtag air to my heart, hashtag forever us. Yn resting her head on his chest. You really think we can do this? Be a good family, Taehyung kissing her forehead. We already are. You, me, Yunha, and our little lion. This is just the beginning.